Alright guys, so today we are going to begin our 1-point perspective drawing. At this point, you should have already saved some ideas from our research day, so you already have an idea or an inspiration for what your 1-point perspective artwork is going to look like. What I'm looking for with this lesson is that you are using a horizon line, vanishing point, and converging lines to create the illusion of space. So whether that means that you are making a seascape or a cityscape, or maybe you are making a landscape with trees receding into the distance, or a train tracks, or it could be really anything, as long as we are demonstrating 1-point perspective. So I'm going to show you how every single artwork should start, and then it will be up to you to add the extra details to make your artwork your own. So we're going to be starting with a ruler, and we're going to make our horizon line. And really, maybe you don't even need a ruler for this, but you're just going to make a straight line across your paper, and that is where your horizon line is going to be. So I am just going to make a line across my paper. It's kind of bright. I don't know how to make that better. Once you have your horizon line, you are going to make a vanishing point, and your vanishing point goes directly on your horizon line. It cannot be above or it cannot be below. It has to be directly on the line somewhere. So I'm going to put my vanishing point right here. Our next steps is to start adding in your details. So depending on what your artwork is, this is going to be different for everyone. I'm going to do a sidewalk, or maybe a dock, that recedes back here into the distance. I'm going to very lightly draw this line, and notice how I'm using this vanishing point for my lines. Everything that you do is going to converge on that vanishing point. It's still really bright. Okay, that's not working. Let's see if I turn my light on, if that helps. Nope, not at all. Okay, so I'm going to have to do it with a Sharpie so that it's nice and dark for you. So we have our horizon line, we have our vanishing point, and then we had our two converging lines to get us started here. Okay. Once we have that, now we're going to start adding in other details. So one thing that I want to show you would be, let's make some floorboards that go through here. Now, boards, the things that are anything in your artwork that's close to you is going to be bigger, and then as it gets farther away in the distance, it's going to get smaller and closer together. So I'm going to start my boards out here. I'm going to make them pretty wide. And then as they begin to get farther away, they're going to get a little bit closer together. I'm also not going to make my line quite as dark, which is hard to do with this Sharpie that I'm using. This would be much easier with a pencil. So as I'm getting farther away, you can see that my lines are getting closer and closer. And let's say I'm going to actually make this a dock, and I'm going to make it stop out here. So let's say that my dock ends there. Now, if I had done this with pencil, these lines would get erased. And my dock would still be using those lines and that vanishing point. So let's go ahead and start making some we're going to make some posts on our dock, because this is something that a lot of kids struggle with. We are going to have, I have some of these L-shaped rulers, and these really, really help you when you are trying to make something vertical in a linear 1-point perspective drawing. So a lot of times we want to make our posts, and they end up looking like this. Things look like they're laying back. Okay, let's see if we can see that a little bit better. So this would be the wrong direction for your posts. We want them to still be vertical, just going back in the distance. So to do that, we will use a ruler like this. So to use a ruler like this, I'm going to line up the bottom of my paper with the bottom of my ruler. And I'm going to set my ruler on this side where I want my post to go. And I'm going to keep this angle lined up. I'm going to make my post come up like this, and then I'm going to scoot it however wide I want my post to be. Scoot that up a little bit. Like this. Okay. So now I have a vertical handrail that is going to go all the way down my my dock here. So I'm going to do the same thing. Once again, I'm going to line up the bottom of my ruler with the bottom of my paper. I'm running out of room over here. I'm going to make my second post for my handrail. And one thing we need to also look at is that the tops of your rails are going back to that vertical line as well. So I'm going to line up my ruler with the top of my first post. I'm going to line it up with my vanishing point at this end. And this one I'm just going to make a dashed line, since I can't erase it with using Sharpie like this. Okay. So this line is going to be the line that my posts go up to. So these can go a little bit higher. Oops, like that. Okay. I'll go on to my next one. Lining up the bottom of my ruler with the bottom of my paper. I'm going to make my vertical line to my dashed line that's converging here with my vanishing point. Just like this. And so each one of these posts is going to get farther back in the distance. Let's do, I'm going to put the one out here on the end, and then we'll see if we might need one in the middle too. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put one more post here. Okay, so now we have these vertical posts that are going back into the distance, again, using this horizon line. If I wanted to, I could make some lines between, and once more, I'm going to be using that vanishing point to connect those lines, just like this. So that vanishing point, even if it ends up getting covered up in your end product or your end artwork, those vanishing points, that vanishing point and these converging lines are what makes the 1-point perspective work, that illusion work. just like that. So hopefully that will give you some tips and ideas on things that you can add to your artwork. You could have trees and things that are coming down in this direction towards your vanishing point, but everything you do, all of your lines, even lines that are going to get covered or going to get erased, have to use this vanishing point for literally every single line that you make.